Don't know if I just clicked record. I didn't get an option to record to the cloud or not. So hopefully this is working. So welcome to the first inaugural Flux Bug Scrub meeting. Jumping right into it, we have an artifact that we are going to collaborate over, and this is a spreadsheet that I generated from the Google issue pull request queue. So each row has a link to the issue, and this handy column here where you can apply an emoji. So there's a couple of ideas working together here to make this a workable strategy. So what we're going to do basically is visit each issue in whatever order we decide, because this is our bug scrub. We can set the targets and focus on what we're most interested in, or where we think we have the most applicable skills in the room. And we're just going to visit the issues and see if they look like they're in good shape or not, and try not to waste too much time. So this is what the spreadsheet looks like when it's been filled out a little bit. I've been using this for Flux V1 maintenance. And just to go over what these icons might mean, I've left it deliberately ambiguous in some cases because we might use them for different things on different days, but the main thing is that we actually visit the issue and go and decide whether there's any action that we can take. So I've been using the gold medal for this one. Is able to be closed or is closed now. The check mark for we've done everything we can do as a maintainer or as a triage, and the block for something is definitely blocked and waiting. And these up here, the open circle, I've been using for let's visit this one, and then this closed one for okay, I visited this one. You know, maybe there was no progress possible, so I selected this one, but at least I read it. So the other things to take note of here, I wanted to sort these all in a reasonable way without, so what we have here is this column, stale age, that's kind of a composite of how old is the issue and how long has it been since someone responded to it, so that it's not just a straight, let's start with the oldest issue or the newest issue, because those don't tend to work very well from what I've found. So I'm just gonna sort the whole sheet by stale age, and then we're gonna cut the deck. Basically, we'll pick the most recent issues and say we're not gonna respond to any of those because they're already in progress, probably by someone. Let's see here. Let's get started. So I think I can do that. That's okay. And I'm just going to pick an arbitrary point here. We're not going to look at any of these issues with a number less than 2 today. So let's hide these rows. And let's start with this one on Go Get Providers. So implement getting the head for a ref in a branch or tag. Currently, there is no way to get the head without first requesting the list of recent commits. So this is an issue on Go Get Providers, and it's marked good first issue. Not sure there's anything for us to do here. So I'm just going to mark this that way. Does anyone have anything to say about this one before we move on? And are there any questions about the format?
So in general, what kind of issues are we like looking to start working on, or we are just going to label the issues based on the activity? So what is the exact process we'll be going through once we go through an issue, and how we'll be moving ahead with that?
So the process is, it's actually going to be tricky because it doesn't look like we have any maintainers here with us.
Yeah.
And that's what we really need in order to do triage. I have triage for Flux v1 repos, but that's not going to be very helpful unless we want to work on Flux v1, which I don't think we do. So normally what the process would be is whoever our designated triage person is, and actually this is good. So since you're new, we do have a couple of issues that we can look at in the community repo. I think I might need to undo this here. Let's see.
The other one I can see is the website, which could also be suitable for beginners like me. The website is also there.
Yeah, so why don't we filter down to the website for now? Let's see if we can get filter thing here going. See, is someone trying to reach me? No. Yeah, so if we just want to work on the website, let's look at just issues on website. And actually, let's add in community because there's one that I'm looking for in particular that I hope we run into. Well, here's one we can make a little bit of progress on right away. So I'm not sure if we should really close that, but at least we bumped it. The one I'm looking for is Allison created an issue to update the community structure so that it would be easier for new contributors to come and get a triage role so that you and I here could do this without a maintainer. And I really should have gotten a commitment from a maintainer to come today. I apologize. This may not be as productive as I had hoped, but so this is another strategy that I've been using here, is to say, let's make it a plan to get through at least this many in the next interval of time. So let's just start with this one. Oh, it's been merged. You know what? I'm going to regenerate this because I generated part of this list last night and it looks like it's not fresh. So it's a good thing we haven't made much progress yet. Excuse me. I just need to remove the filters here. So I did mention this is the very first time that we've done this. I will probably not wipe the board in future iterations during the repo, but that's what I'm going to do right now because it's out of date and that's not very helpful. Hopefully this works the second time. Can you see this?
Yes, very well.
Cool. Well, my next question is, are all these controls available to you? If you want to mark one of these issues here.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. We're not seeing already merged pull requests anymore. Great. So the process would basically be once a week or whenever we do this bug scrub event, we'll generate a new tab or an entirely new document and pull in anything that we've added to this sheet from the previous event, if that makes sense. So I've built this process so that you can sort of have this workflow and exclude things that, or include things that you want to focus on. How do you feel about sharing your screen? This will be better if someone else drives, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I'll do it in a second.
Cool.
Right now, the screen sharing for participants is disabled.
Okay, it's fixed now.
Yep. Can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
So this is the first one, right? Make buttons flat and crispy.
Yeah. I think I did this backwards here. What I wanted to do was to say, start with only the issues that are like 7 days stale or more.
Yeah.
I think I want to flip this to greater than. There we go. All right, great. Now we have a good list of issues here.
Yeah. Update Helm releases creation example. Update generated.
So this says label documentation. I think this one is labeled correctly at least.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give it a green check mark. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah. So here we don't have any labels yet, but this is related to support SOX encrypted data for customized secret generator ENV's argument. At the moment, Flux supports secret generator. The tutorial on how to use SOX with manual customized build.
So have you used SOPs yet at all?
No.
This is a good thing to learn, but we probably don't have much to contribute here right now. I'm just going to write on the issue /label documentation because I think that we can probably get this. See here, this is probably the best way for us to handle the fact that we don't have the triage role in the room with us.
Yeah.
And I really want to make this possible for people to participate without the triage role. But there's an issue that I wanted everyone to see in, I think, FluxCD community. Here we go, number 75. If you can go here, you see 75 on the list?
No, I don't see that.
Looks like it's like row 107.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's it. Yeah.
The previous one, I think, was the future request as well, along with the documentation. So I think it should be marked as a feature request or something like that.
Cool.
Or it's just for the documentation.
I agree. I think you're right. Would you type it there? I lost the tab already. Just do /label feature request.
Okay.
So part of what we're doing here is figuring out what we need for the next bug scrub. And one of those things, I think, is the robot that does the label.
Yeah.
But this is good because it moves the issue to the top of the queue for the next bug scrub because it will have a lower stale age now that we've responded to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, so this issue about community here, just so you see it, and everyone else, expand, modify community, this pull 75, I asked you to skip ahead to. It's a rather large issue, but to summarize it for everyone who might be in attendance or watching the video later, we were looking to expand the definition of contributor. And as people come into the Flux project, we want to make it easier for people to get the triage role because that will actually let people close issues and add labels or rename the issue if it hasn't been named correctly with their own triage role. So just so you've seen that.
how would these roles look like, and like, do we have any elaborate description for it?
Yeah, the content of this PR, if you go into files changed,
Here's the PR. Okay,
it
this
looks
is the
like it's just a related issue. I'm not sure that's
yeah,
um, the content basically defines a new member role.
yeah,
So before, the issue that this addresses is in the current governance, when you're a new joiner on Flux, you can get your pull request merged and then you're a contributor, but that doesn't give you any org membership or actual status. So it's difficult for maintainers to assign you privileges and make it easier for you to be autonomous, right? They're the maintainers. But um, GitHub has a triage role that you can assign that gives individuals a limited capability to affect the issue queue and not write access to the repos. So there's a much the triage permission um, that we can give out to individual users here. Yeah, this is the summary of how this ties into the bug scrub down there. You found it just
yeah.
now. So yeah. So we don't have to belabor talking about that, but um, I'm just going to mark that we did visit that issue too.
So should we label this PR as well as documentation?
Yeah.
Okay, going ahead and doing that. Cool. So the next one is issues 239.
Yep.
Content guide for docs. Create a content guide. So
So what's in 131? I'm curious.
yeah,
Template for structure of guides. I didn't realize we had a template for a structure of the guides already. Cool. So this one has a label documentation and a label meta.
yeah. Seems to be up to date, but I think we can mark this as ready.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah. Uh,
It's 8:30 a.m. There's one entry for today. At noon, you have 6 CLI bi-weekly meetings. By the way, you need to take
FAQ for drift correction.
time to start your workday. Have a great day.
Reopening an old issue.
Okay. So our docs moved out of the Flux 2 repo and into the website repo, which is why there is all history is on an older issue report. So this one looks like it needs rebase, but I'm sure that Lee knows he should rebase before it gets merged. Let's see. try and figure out what can be helpful here. Maybe we can label this one as documentation as well.
And maybe ping stealthy box for a rebase, and then we can go ahead with the PR.
Yeah, I'm going to write a little note on here.
This one is 213 issue number.
Mhm.
And this is about the repo should have its own issue templates instead of.
Yeah. This, I think the issue template generally asks for things like instructions to reproduce. So this sounds like
Yeah,
maybe a good first issue. What do you think?
definitely. Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with this. This should be it. Landing page, add carousel with Flux adapters. Carousel. Do we have anything else we could use for carousel showcase section?
I think this one is just, I don't think there's anything we can do for this one.
Yeah, it's some sort of feature request for the landing page, but doesn't seem that like it's suitable for this kind of stuff. So, and also the labels seem to be pretty good.
Okay. Let's give it a check mark and move on then.
Yeah. Audio walkthrough option for the terminal GIF. This seems to be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna assign this one to me because it's already got my name on it.
Yeah.
Actually, if you want to type in /assign Kingdom B. Yeah, thank you.
Next one is FAQ migration, add information about improved security. Okay. Maybe this would be a good first issue as well for those who are well familiar with like V2 or have gone through the documentation of V2. May have like a suggestion on how to do this.
Yeah. I don't want to volunteer for too many things, but this is already on my list. I have a separate list of things that I need to do. So could
Yeah,
you at me on this one also?
yeah, for sure.
Great. Thank you.
Adopters page, long company name, cat, wrap, mid-word. Okay.
You know what you can do on this one? Uh, Actually, I'll do this here just so that where is where is this link? We're on 201. Yeah, cool. I'm just going to assign it to my friend who I know is working on the website stuff. There you go. How do you think this is going so far?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and at least I'm going through each and every issue one by one, and like getting myself familiar that what kind of issues and what kind of progress is going on among the Flux community, and where we are and where we are going to move forward. So it's definitely super beginner friendly, like me, for the people like me especially. So yeah, this will help, definitely help me to like uh, to get a broader aspect of Flux rather than like just the code part and the technical stuff. So definitely a great experience.
Awesome. Thank you. The spreadsheet seems to be working well for us.
Yeah,
Cool. Well, let's see how much more progress we can make in this span of this meeting.
branding. Consolidate our branding information in one documentation. Have our logos live in community site. So should we label it as pretty, or because this does not seem to be like
I
some
think this is all
documentation?
about documentation here. This
Yeah.
is meta and documentation.
Talk so the beautification feedback. Talks need some updates. It's irregular. Something migration shouldn't be there. The button placement looks a bit all over the place. There seems to be a PR which is merged and the commit which references this issue. So it seems to be pretty up to date, but has been stale for a while now.
Okay, I'm gonna send a message about it here.
Yeah. Create new issue should link to choose. At present, create new issue link in the sidebar of the documentation pages link. It should link to choose. Okay.
Create a new issue in the sidebar of the documentation. Okay, so let's see.
Is it still an issue or like it's solved?
I'm going to check it out right now and see if
Yeah, I'm opening it. Where can I find the create project issue?
Yeah, create project issue.
Yeah, it links to this URL.
So is this a good first issue? I'm not exactly sure how you fix that. Is that, oh, well, it's, yeah, it's on the website. So it would be just update the link.
Yeah, so we can do this here. Okay. You need to fork. Yeah, I'm not a member, so I'll need to fork.
Do you want to,
But the fix seems to be super easy. Yeah.
this looks like something that anyone can do. Do you want to do?
Yeah, maybe I can assign this to myself.
Great. Yeah. Let me, how about I assign it to you so that it doesn't look so,
Maybe. Yeah, I might not have enough permissions to do that.
well, there's no robot to do it anyway right now. So,
Yeah.
but this is definitely something that will be a quick pull request here. Sorry, what was your GitHub handle again?
I am pinging it in chat. What's the chat?
Got it.
It's done.
Yeah, give that one a medal.
Links alert doesn't resolve from footer href. Read the link that doesn't apparently work together with alert notation and user. Sound to call. Okay. This is created by you.
Yeah, so this is my issue. I don't know if there is any, there's anything we can actually do to make this, let's see. I'm just going to close this one.
Yeah, if someone finds out a similar kind of problem in future, they can probably reopen or create a new issue.
Yeah, at least if they have the same problem that's documented here, that's what's wrong.
Figure out YouTube playlist access. Daniel asks that it should be resolved by now, so maybe someone can confirm this one.
Let's see, playlist access. That's a good question. Is it actually resolved? Add all Flux dev meeting recordings. Oh, there's this number 91 now. Set up YouTube account. It looks like it has figure out YouTube playlist access. I think we should leave this one alone. unless you have any ideas.
There's nothing we can do here. One thing that can be done is to ping the respective persons who are in charge of this and ask them if it is still going on or it is fixed or not. So
Okay, let's do that. I'll write a note here.
import flux to docs.sh. Sort does not do proper SEM work. To give unexpected results with pre-releases.
Hmm.
Help wanted seems to be right tag here. It doesn't seem to be a good first issue because it is related to release purposes. So I don't think any new person will be able to tackle this without the proper support and like release management. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see. So this is a script called import flux to docs, and there must be a line in there that runs sort capital V.
Yeah,
Hmm. Why don't I assign that to myself just because I think I understand the issue at least.
and where does the script resides?
It's import flux to docs.sh. It's probably in that hack directory. Yeah, it's called
Yeah,
import flux to assets now, I guess.
yeah.
Import dash capital V. Yep, there's this controller version line.
Done. Need a good quality banner for Flux YouTube. Again, a YouTube related issue. So maybe we can ping Allison and ask about it.
Yeah, I want to avoid pinging issues. Let's unless there's something we can add, I think
Yeah,
that one will just mark that we visited it.
organize docs according to use cases.
This is a epic issue here. This is
So maybe if you can ping Scott regarding this issue because everything seems to be up to date now. So
This one is, yeah. Let me pull this open here.
highlight active section and right nav bar.
Oh,
Okay.
I see. So if you are actively on a certain section of the page, this is when you scroll down. Yeah, I remember this in the original docs. As you like go into one of these pages and see how on the right there's another table of contents.
Yeah.
In the old docs, as you used to scroll down, it would highlight which section you were actually at, so you could kind of trace your progress through. That was just a really nice feature that it's not a new theme.
Yeah, it's already marked and it's a good first issue as well.
I think
No, this is a different one. Yeah, it's a documentation related.
I'm gonna ping Hide on this one because I think he might have the code that does this.
Yeah.
I think he might have said that at some point here.
The Flux we do produce. Invite Flux to end users to start a discussion about the GitOps journey, which could then be edited and made available publicly. Enhancement. Is it really an enhancement or like? I'm not sure about this one, whether it fits into the enhancement criteria, but yeah, it seems to be up to date and like depends on the management side of things.
I'm gonna write something on it here. I guess
Going on, the next one is update popular Flux pages to refer to Flux 2. Should try to find popular guides, posts, or pages which refers to Flux 1 and see if we can add a quick note. Yeah, that's a great idea. Because even when I was getting started with Flux, I was landing on Flux V1 and then the docs of Flux V2 are different. So it would be really helpful to have this one.
popular guides which refer to Flux V1. So do you have any examples? I know I can think of a few off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't have the examples handy with me right now, but when I was first getting started with Flux, and also like one of my co-workers who was getting started with Flux, so he started with Flux V1 actually instead of going to the guide to V2. So maybe it was the getting started guide that he referred to for V1 and was not for V2. So maybe that could be the potential candidate for this kind of information.
Yeah, I know I think we've got the kind of admonishment at the top of all of our guides at this point. I think this is about external guides.
Yeah.
So if you can find out what guide that was, maybe we can backtrack and I know.
Yeah, maybe I can do that.
I'm going to comment on here, at least one I can think of.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the other one, which was related to one of the other issues related to YouTube accounts. So marking it as ready. Re-upload YouTube videos to Flux channel is again something which is related to YouTube.
Yeah.
Finish breakup of core concepts talk. Documentation.
I'm not sure if this is.
Maybe this is something you can ask for update, or otherwise it's like in a good condition.
Let's see if we can tell if it already. So it's doc/concepts. So what is the final state of this issue? It's about
Yeah,
moving.
so it's so currently like the last state was Daniel assigned this to Allison, and before that there are few comments that refers to this particular issue, and the one PR is merged as well.
Yeah, so maybe it's already fixed. So let's see if we can comment about it here. This is.
So the comment here says that if we go ahead with this and the issue mentioned, we'll need to tweak the redirect rules from toolkit.f.I. So no strong opinion. Maybe it's a new task that will need to be created.
I see. Nope, that's already works. If you go to toolkit.fluxcd.io/core concepts, then you get redirected correctly. So you want to comment on that PR and say, looks like the redirect has been implemented correctly? Just put a comment on this PR.
Okay, so it is this PR which is merged?
Yep, just write a note on the bottom here. It says it looks like. Perfect. And it looks like we're actually at time.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining me today. We made really great progress, and I feel like this went really well.
Yeah, definitely. Got to know about like the website repo especially, and all the community things that are going on around like YouTube and documentation and things like that. I have one issue with me now, so I'll try to fix it as soon as I get time. So yeah, thank you very much for that.
Great. Well, thank you again for joining us. I'm going to stop
Yeah.
recording.